Why, hello, everybody. Why, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the VEXY Show, episode 6, on this fine Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. I was just talking to Blue Sabres in chat alongside Cobra Warrior. And how's everyone's day going today? I know Blue Sabres said you were sick. That's not good to hear. But you did redo the one-up gaming server, which is always appreciated by the people and for the people. So yeah, welcome to this Tuesday's edition of the VEXY Show, episode 6, where we have a great show planned. Obviously, we have our typical guest. We have the Q&A with them. Then we hit the intermission. Then we come out of it and we talk about a way that esports orgs run and how it can, what their priorities are, by an example given by our guest. Our guest will explain that scenario of how really bigger orgs run and how they operate, how they think. And then we will play a game with the guest and see if I can break my 0-4 streak. Anyways, now we are going into the OUG ad reads I do every single time on this show. A message from the One Up Gaming staff team. We are a community that focuses on fun, passion, and competition. We have already hosted a few super successful tournaments and are planning to host many more in the future. We take pride in how we run these tournaments, especially with our casting staff, productions team, and management staff. What we love most about One Up Gaming is that we create an environment for Rocket League players to compete for prizes and bragging rights. The tournaments we host on our own OUG channel average a ton of viewers. The chat gets hyped, the casts are legendary, and the productions are always peaking perfection. If you ever have interest in One Up Gaming, please do not be afraid to ask any staff members to join on in and tune into the announcements. Cheer the champions. 4 days. Better see you all there. Because I will be on the cast. I think it's on my channel for one. I know it's on my channel for one of them, but then the second one, it could be on someone else's channel. But I don't know. I'm definitely casting the 4th on Saturday, so make sure you're there. Anyways, as we finish the 2 festivities that we do every episode, now it's on the creative portion, the first block, if you will, the first actual segment. And that is always our guest. And our guest here today is a man I haven't really talked to a lot. And I haven't really met a lot. And I think it would be interesting to see how he would fare on this show. He is a caster, ladies and gentlemen. He is a caster for One Up Gaming. He's a caster for many other leagues. He's a pretty popular guy, too. His name is, in fact, he has been in this chat before, so I don't know if that gives it away. His name is, in fact, Cobra Warrior. Cobra Warrior, or also more commonly known as Cobra. How's it going, my man?
Bring me on.
Yeah, I accidentally forgot to unmute my audio. Come on, Brambo.
Nope.
Brambo, man. Brambo's hooked me up with the new audio. Oh.
You got it. Just work through it. Work through it.
Oh, man. I hate Brambo, but I love you too, man. Like, all these new gadgets he's taught me how to use. Watch, I can just do a bunch of this. I can just go boom, 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 boom. Like, I just muted audio 16 times. Like, I could change. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom. Like, I can do that. Like, he's showing me. Oh, God. Anyways. Welcome on, as I tried to say, without you being muted.
Yeah. No, I hope we're good now. But yeah, Brambo, honestly, he's shown me quite a few things as well, but it is a tall, like, task to actually be able to put it all together. And, like, one of the things that's, like, really helped me is,
I think I
like,
just gotta get
adding
used to it, though.
small bits. Yeah, no, as soon as it's you have to keep on doing it. You have to like continue to like work things into like your flow, especially with Stream Deck, because I feel like I have a Stream Deck as well, and I feel like I've just kind of scratched the surface of like what you could program into it and like changing scenes and adding assets and whatnot and making them appear and disappear. But Brambo is like the captain with all that, and he's given me some suggestions. I'm like, I will do that at some point, sure, but my mind can only hold so much, honestly.
Yeah. I left the Discord audio muted because I know we were talking behind the scenes, just kind of getting hyped for the show, so I kind of forgot. So that's on me. But we're gonna get right into the questions as we always do, which I'm pretty much gonna tell you to pretty much say the exact same thing you said while you were muted. So the first question, as always with everybody, is pretty much give me a general introduction of who you are, what content do you specialize in, and who do you create content for.
Yeah. So my name is Andres Rivera, aka Cobra Warrior, aka Cobra. I'm 26 years old. I've been casting for over 2 years now, I believe. So I mainly am in RL, an RL caster commentator. And am slowly branching off and learning different games like Valorant and Overwatch, which are two of the games that I really want to get into. And other than that, on stream, I play as well. I've been playing Overwatch and Valorant a little bit on stream, as well as Rocket League ranks. When I absolutely don't, tilt out of my mind, I'll play Rocket League. And then I play some other stuff, some things that I just like playing. There's a awesome game called Sifu, which is like an action martial arts game. I'm planning to play the new Dead Space remake because that was one of my favorite games. One of my first horror games like I played as a kid. So that's like kind of what's coming up. But yeah, and who I make stuff for. So when I started streaming, when I casted, I honestly like started to cast for players and make content for players. I used to play on a team for a little bit for about two or three splits in IGL, and I I think it really adds a lot of value for people that are playing to have moments where they could go back and it's already recorded, it's already on the stream, and you could show people. Like that's something that's really fun to actually like. When I was a player, I was so hyped to be cast by people like Pyro J and King Fury and all these wonderful casters. So I'm like, I like giving players those moments of like, look at this like insane shot I had, or this save, or like look at this like overtime goal that we had. So that's really who I try to, why I do what I do.
Yeah, I know you mentioned how you try to create content for the players. I feel like that's what I live for when I played. You know, when I was competing, I lived for the big moments on stream. I lived for making those big plays and having the casters go crazy. So I definitely kind of transitioned to where you are right now, and from that to seeing how I can make people's days by doing this, by like showing people I can create hype moments for them too, and it's very cool. That's all I can put it. It's just a cool gig. I don't know how.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Because yeah, I mean, you've played. I've seen like teams that you're on, but it's one of those things that as a player, once you have moments like that when you're in a league, when pressure's on, when all of a sudden you're not only playing a game, but now you're kind of performing for an audience. It turns to not only being a video game, but it turns into entertainment. And I have a sports background. Like I played sports all the way up until college, and it's something that I've enjoyed. And then being able to not only witness those moments, but like now you're embedded in them, and now you're like you know creating that moment and narrating them in a sense, is something that I really enjoy, and that just gives so much context to that. So it's a really really cool thing.
Yeah, it is. And we're just going to move on a little bit here. We're going to talk about Twitch, then we'll get into, your gaming love because I know we're all gamers here, and I think
Yeah.
that's a pretty obvious statement. You're allowed to put no crap in chat. Um chat members. So number two, how did you get into Twitch, man? What's your story?
Yeah, so it took me a while, honestly. So the first thing that I ever did on Twitch was I actually streamed a series of 1v1s, like a grudge match kind of situation. I always knew that I was playing with the intention of getting into casting and like, learning, like learning more about organizations and then like becoming like, hey, I, want to cast, want to be able to do this. I play on this team. Like, let me cast, the other teams in the organization. And basically what I did exactly that. Like I reached out to a few different friends that I knew and, a group that we all played together. And something that we would do on like weekends, like back in college even, is we would play each other like 1v1. We'd have like grudge matches and then sometimes it would, be for like small bets and I would be casting like basically in the room like as a joke. And it's something that we did for a while and then I'm like, we should someone's like we should, put this on Twitch and like we should actually like have other people watch it. And that's how it started. So I still have that video and I think it was 3 or 4 matches at different skill levels. And then after that, after doing those 1v1s, I started, reaching out to other teams and then became a verified caster for IGL. And then continued to start doing casting as the primary part of my Twitch after that.
Yeah, just as far as how you picked up casting, I think that's pretty interesting. How you were just casting behind your friends, and they thought it was cool, and then you just put it online, and that's how you became who you are. And what do you have? 762 followers?
Yeah, we're getting close. So we're getting close to 750. I think it might
I
be
think I think you're a little
7.
bit over.
Like, really?
I think
Yeah.
you're a
So
little bit over.
it's been really nice, and especially with some of the different leagues that we're going in, especially when some of these organizations. I mean, you're part of One Up Gaming, which is I call it like an organization that travels well. Like when there's something going on, they bring people. Like and there's plenty of organizations that I cast for that like really know how to bring viewers or like bring fans to a channel. So it's going well, and people have been really nice, and I'm really appreciative that it's taken me this far.
Yeah, I just checked. You had 730, so I was a little bit wrong. But I thought I was overhyping you a little bit.
Yeah.
Overhyping you.
Yeah, I feel that.
Not to take away from your career that you had at all. Not nothing to take away from it, but
I was about to say it's a nice number. I like 730 is nice. Like we're
better
still
better than
building it up.
better than
But
68 or something that I had.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of a nice, 730 rolls off the tongue too. So we'll
I've a
relish in that for a bit.
no way. I had a clean 69. Nah. All right, bro.
Amazing.
That's actually peak because you are the 69th.
Love that.
Okay.
I'll always have that. I'll
You'll
always be able to
always
be like,
have
oh,
that
Vexy. Yep.
dedication. I should change your
Yep,
name on stream to
exactly.
69th follower. You will
Just a
always
special title right after
you'll
it.
always have that
Love that.
honor.
Okay, perfect.
I'll put that in the Discord too. I'll make sure everyone knows about it. Um,
Amazing.
yeah. So now we're gonna get into more in depth about casting. So first off, like, what do you like about it the most? Does anything really stick out to you other than like creating moments?
Yeah, I mean, so I've always felt like as a player, like I always have been able to kind of sit by the fact that I feel like I read the game really well. Like I feel like I have a good sense of things going on around the pitch. And like what I really like doing is actually watching I like watching other people play. I like kind of dissecting decisions and whatnot and talking about it. And so I'm someone that I actually have a music background. I went to college for music business. And so I've always been a performer at heart. I love kind of creating those moments. So I feel that something that I always really value is like the build up to a goal, like being able to like you make that call and like as a player you could kind of feel it too when like you see that pass that is there that will lead to the goal. Like I love being able to call that out as a caster, like and seeing that build up and like seeing momentum shift and it's like this is about to lead to a goal. It's like this player has the flip reset or they have this read and it'll lead to the goal. Like I love being able to predict those moments. Um, because it really grounds you in the game. I feel like there's so many moments, and it makes the players look good when you know, they're able to kind of manufacture these goals, and then you're able to be a part of it. So that's one of my favorite things about casting.
I didn't know music business was a major.
Yeah, it's not that I was about to say not popular is not the right word because
Uncommon.
when I was going to college, there was a lot of places that you were like, "Oh, well, you could go and study music and then minor in business or vice versa."
I thought you meant that
And
was one thing.
well it is one thing. So, but you have to go to very specific places for it.
Oh, all right.
So like so specifically, the college I went to, it's a small college in Illinois, called Millikan University. They're a big music school. And there are other music schools that have it, but yeah, so basically you do music stuff, you do business stuff, and then you have specific classes that talk about like the music industry and copyright and licensing and all those fun things. So it might be a little bit more popular now, but music business it's a very weird major because of like the nature of the music industry. Um, so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, but I've always had a knack for entertaining and doing that. So this because I've also loved video games forever. This is like a really nice kind of in between of that.
Yeah, I can tell. I my kind of background is like obviously I'm way younger than you. I'm still a freshman in high
Yep.
school, but
Yep.
so my kind of background with this kind of stuff is I kind of grew up when I was got my well, I was exposed to gaming back when the Wii was like hardcore. It's established console. Like it's a one of the best. It's gonna
Hmm.
be one of the best legacies to ever exist, right?
Right.
So that's when I got exposed to that. And then that's how my love of gaming grew from my first Xbox One S to playing Minecraft to getting onto Fortnite, onto Rocket League, then switching back to Fortnite. Now on Rocket League pretty much full time. So
Right.
that's pretty much how that happened. As far as like my how I want to like why I joined One Up Gaming or what as like a prominent role and like helping it grow is because I love that sort of stuff. It's like business. Like I love business. I'm going to study business right now in high school. I'm taking like
Hmm.
elective pathways for it. So it's just I've always had a knack for being creative, having those creative ideas, and kind of putting them into reality. And
Very
I think
cool.
you have the same passion as I do, pretty much with that. And especially, I know you studied music. I'm more leaning towards the sports side because I'm more of a sporty kid. So I think it's interesting to see how two two different backgrounds, but two of the same backgrounds, like
Hmm.
can be cohesive of the same thing. It's
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
it's really cool, and and that's like to your point. Like I think that's what makes um that is what makes like industries like this that were that
Oh, for sure.
you like interesting is because people with different backgrounds could bring things to the table of like how to move it forward and things that they've learned from their background. It's really interesting to hear that, and it's like, yeah, there's some similarities of like, yeah, you kind of have some ideas of like entertaining. It's like, oh, like in terms of like working for an organization, like how to build that up and like the creative part of it, and then bringing that into a completely different, you know, uh, type of field is really really interesting.
Yeah, it's like a breeding ground if you want to call it that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're gonna get into a little deeper question.
Hmm.
So, what is your inspiration for casting, for playing video games, for streaming video games? Matter of fact.
Ooh,
So,
okay,
like,
so
what
go ahead.
kickstarted? What was like the feeling, or what was like the moment? Other, because I know you talked about the casting part with like your friends, but what really made you decide to? What was your inspiration, really?
Yeah, so I've loved sports since I was younger. Like I'm super competitive just as a person. And you were talking about how you got into video games. The way that I got into video games, the first thing I played on the original Xbox. And when my dad got me the original Xbox, like my parents are not video game people
Oh,
really.
same here.
But
All day.
yeah, yeah, but my dad, when I got the original Xbox, like I didn't have anyone to play with. It wasn't like online. It was just myself. And he would be the one that would play with me. And so the first game that I got that actually came like with the box, it was a double disc. So it had two games that you could choose to play on it. And it was Top Spin, which is a tennis game, which I've never been like a big tennis person. It was still kind of fun. And then NCAA 2005, um, which was so fun. And I grew up. I Baseball was my main sport. I grew into playing football in high school just because it worked schedule wise for me. But me and my dad would play all the time, and so he would play as UCLA, I would play as
Oh.
UC, and he would kick my butt every single time. And he would, and like, he's not a video game dude, but he's like a sports guy. And so he would run the same play on me. Like it was like a deep post, and I would blitz every time because I didn't know how to stop it yet. And he would run up the score, and I'd get upset and like turn it off. And it's just like, I've always been a competitor. And because of my sports background, I've always really enjoyed watching sports and being like part of those moments. And then um every sports moment that I have really been a part of, like watching sports clips, like the thing that makes it iconic isn't just the action that's happening, like someone hitting a home run or someone breaking a 50-yard touchdown. It's the call that goes alongside it. And when I was doing it as a joke in, like, while I was playing in college, like I kind of felt those moments, and I realized like I'm like I feel like I'm really good at those moments, and I feel like I'm really good at encapsulating that. I've always been really quick on my feet, in terms of being able to articulate what I'm thinking, and it just reminds me of all that. And I've watched every sport. I really enjoy when professional like commentators bring you into the moment, and there's a lot of good people to like watch out that. But that was kind of what triggered. And as soon as someone like said like, hey, like I want you to keep on doing this, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I could do that for you. Like that's like, if you want me to be a part of that moment, it's something special to you, like absolutely I'll keep on doing that. So that's kind of how that started for me.
Yeah, just going on your point about, how it's not really the play itself. It's more about how the commentators or the caster, whatever you want to call it, really
Yeah.
really encompass the play. And I 100% agree with that. I can think of like sports moments, obviously. Big New England guy. Got Bruins all over here. Patriots right there.
Yeah, I was about to say you got a ton of sports history in that town. Yeah.
Celtics. And I'm a big Boston guy, so I can just remember like I know this doesn't apply to a lot of people because we are on a gaming show, not on a sports show, but
Hmm.
like just the Brady Super Bowls or like any iconic play, you don't really
Exactly.
remember. You remember the play, but if you really know the play, you really know the commentator and how they said it. The
Exactly.
commentators add to the game so much, and it brings a new level of excitement, a new level of like retention, if you will, and entertainment value through the roof if they can do it well. Like I just know guys like in just the sports world, like Kevin Harlan, um, Tony Romo's been doing well, Chris
Yeah, absolutely.
Collinsworth, like all those guys, they're all very very good commentators, and they add so much to the game where it becomes like it becomes a different show without like just watch. I just want you to do this. This is the VEXY Lad show homework for the week. I want you to watch any of your favorite sport, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, NHL, soccer, whatever it is. I want you to watch it without the caster or the commentator, or I want you to watch the same broadcast with the commentator. Preferably pick a commentator you like, so it makes more sense, and see how much they
Right.
add to the game It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really nice, and yeah, it encapsulates the moment. I mean, there's so many iconic voices. I mean, you named a good bunch there that really, encapsulate it for football. And like I think of like the NBA, like some of the calls there from like, like Steph Curry with like the three, like the downtown, like
Oh my
bang,
god,
like,
dude.
and like it's it's electric. And it's like not only the shot, but it's like the call hypes it up even more. And I think every caster kind of has their own thing. And I don't know if anybody's into soccer or football for everyone else in the world,
Oh,
but
what's that guy's name? Oh,
like
I think, is it the British guy?
yeah,
Who's that guy?
they're I'm trying to think of it now. I'm really upset with
I
myself
was
that I
gonna
can't think
say
about it.
him, but I don't know his name because he's
But
iconic.
there are iconic moments that are filled with like just beauty and poetry, like from the commentator booth. And it's really funny, and it's like I always find it really interesting to listen to other languages cast too, because like, so I'm Puerto Rican. I don't speak Spanish, but my parents watch a lot of things in Spanish, or used to. And I would like sometimes watch like soccer, like, or like Mexican soccer leagues. And like you could like straight up like not understand the language but still be like really excited about like hearing the language as like
Like,
they're
just like
talking
their
about what's going
emotions
on.
in it too. Like, I
Yeah,
know,
and
like, I think
there's so many
Spanish
different
soccer,
styles.
like casted, way better all day.
Yeah. And it just brings a different vibe. I always think of there's a Lionel Messi clip, and it's basically Messi like dribbling from like halfway of the field, and the dude just saying Messi's name.
Messi,
He's just like
Messi, Messi,
Messi,
Messi,
Messi,
Messi.
un para Messi, 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 and it's just like saying that. And that, I don't know why it's so good, but it is. Um, and it's just amazing. Honestly,
Look up,
if you have the chance to find that clip, it's amazing.
so chat, I think it's like Uncut Messi, Uncut Messi, Uncut Messi, Uncut Messi, like that one.
Yeah, yeah. He's like para Messi, un cara Messi, and it's just like, and Messi's obviously like dribbling through everyone and gets the goal. He's like, oh, go, 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 and it's so good. It's so good.
It's so hype. Like, just
Yeah.
the point being, guys, if commentators change the, like, we you guys, it I think people take commentators, casters for granted, like 100%.
Yeah. I mean, because I think we've grown so accustomed to them
To having
being,
them.
yeah, to having them, that we don't think about what it is to be taken away. And like casters can, there's casters that people like, some people don't like the same energy of like the host or the casters or whatnot. But like it's difficult to like bring that energy. But like, when a caster is bringing it, like it just brings up, like what you said, the value so much, and it becomes a whole different experience, and it really solidifies um so much, which is why, those clips of like, basketball and football and soccer have a very different tone to like, commentators for golf. And I'm not saying anything against like the energy of golf and like, tennis or whatnot, but like those are sports where it's like you're not doing the action happens and then you talk about it. Where it's like football, it's like you're talking about it in the moment. Basketball, you're talking about it in the moment. Golf, it's like you have to be silent, and then they do the thing, and then you talk about like why that was good or bad. Tennis
Hey,
is
look,
very
we have
same
a
thing, where
50
they
foot
just
putt here.
go
Uh,
back and forth.
we have a 25-foot putt here, going from left to right on your screen. Here goes now. Oh, he just lips out. What
Yep,
an almost
it's
beautiful putt.
right. And but if you look at the clip, it's like the clip is them making the putt. The clip isn't like the caster talking. And again, it's a different style. Obviously, it's respect. You're on the course.
You can't say
But
it
like,
too loud because then
yeah,
the backswing, and then they'll get mad at you, and then
exactly. And it's just like it's a sport that doesn't need it. Like it's a sport that exists outside of that. But it's fine. Different sports have their different things that kind of bring the energy, and golf is always seen as like a very prestigious sport, which it is. It's been around forever. But it's a very different energy, and that's partially because of what the sport is, and that's called the casters. Like, if you imagine a caster talking, trying to hype it up, it almost feels weird.
But then again, it's
Shot
not
for shot.
impossible, too.
It is definitely not impossible.
Like
I can think
I
of
remember
a
this is
few.
my only golf quote I know. Like when Tiger Woods came back to win the U.S. Open again, it was the guy saying "Return to glory." Then he like threw up his club, and it was so good.
Yeah, yeah. Tiger is so electric. His athlete, I mean, literally brings in so many people to watch just because they were. Tiger is like, he's just that dude.
Tiger
It was
is
just
just
incredible.
Tiger, like
Incredible.
But going back to what we're saying, as like it takes different games have different styles, and I think that applies to Rocket League. Like it's more of like it's soccer casting. That's really what it is. But it's a little mix of everything. I feel like sometimes it's slow pace when it's just been 50-50s mid play, just passes up and down the field. But then it can get really crazy, really hectic, and really fast when the ball goes in the box. Crazy saves, maybe some stupid goal where it's like a flip reset, double tap. You never know what's coming at you when you're Rocket League casting. And I think especially it emphasizes a lot with Rocket League other than any other game, more than any other game at all. I think it emphasizes the fact that the casters bring so much value, and it emphasizes that point in Rocket League the most.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think because of how fluid Rocket League is as a game, like that means that the casters themselves have to be fluid. And that's why I think it's really nice to be able to know, what approach you want to take as a caster. So one of the things that I always think about when I'm casting as well. So I learn the most about my casting when I cast with someone else, especially someone that I haven't casted with before. So one of the first people that I actually casted with was a caster named Pyro J. If you don't know him, you should.
Pyro J, very
He's
legendary.
very legendary. He's awesome. He's doing RLCS in the South American side, or the South African side, excuse me. And then he's doing some of the North American stuff. I believe he was on the crew cast recently. Very awesome. And he was doing something where this was back in the IGL. But he was basically like looking for people, and he was just like, hey, like if anyone wants to, like he was paying people too, which was wild at the time because I was like just starting out. But he's like, yeah, I'm just looking for a whole bunch of co-casters for different playoff games that I was doing, and I was just like throwing my name out there. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll do it, like sure. And he reached out, and we were able to do it. And I always feel like at least when I was starting out, I was like trying to make everything hype.
Yeah,
Which is fine,
same
like where
here.
there's a place for that. But I feel like Pyro did a really good job of really bringing me back and being like, and kind of breaking up and picking moments. And I think he does a really good job of picking moments of when to bring it up. And like it became like us having a conversation, and like Rocket League was part of it. I feel like there's so many different ways to go about it. And I think it's one of the most valuable things, because like I can change how I cast, and I can learn different things by casting with different people. Like Power J like brought the energy down and like continued to ramp it over a best of 7 series. And sometimes I noticed that I would really be lacking energy towards like the later series because I was trying to use it all at the beginning. And I think he did a really good job of just being like, hey, so let's talk about this. Like, how does the series, like, what do you think are some key things about the series? And then we'd have a conversation, obviously acknowledge what is going on in the game. But then when it really mattered, in, some team is going home soon, they're losing this game, and the game 5, game 6, game 7, which is what I believe we ended up casting, that is where you reserve your energy for, and that is where those moments are created. So it's one of those things that I always look back and like I learned a lot there, and there's plenty of other people that I've casted with that have kind of figured out like, oh, like this is what they excel at, and this is like kind of the tone that they're bringing, and learning how to kind of incorporate that and work with them in a duo, it could drastically change how you look at the game and how you look at your casting as well.
Yeah. Would you call Pyro J more of a mentor?
I truly treat him like that because he has been someone that I've been able to reach out to multiple times, and like he's been very honest with me. I've been following his stream for quite a while. Um and he's always like made the time when he has it to like answer any questions. Like so he's full-time content creation now, which is solid. And I remember reaching out to him and like asking him, and he like it was at a time where I had questions about like, hey, where's like the best spot to be for casting, because I wanted to get back into like and wanted to try and get into the um doing lands and doing like live environment stuff. And he like took a whole like night to basically talk about like, hey, I moved to Vegas specifically for this reason. Like it's like he was telling me like he's like, hey, it's very the flights are very cheap to either get to where I need to go. Like international flights are very easy. You're right next to California if you need to go. And basically like you don't no one like there are so many people that like will look at that and be like, they don't need to give you all those details, but like he went that extra bit of like telling you why he went this way. If I needed any context that like out there, like feel free to hit him up. And it's just like, you know, you don't need to do that. Like, but when you find someone like that is like that gracious enough to do stuff like that for you, like you take it to heart and you remember that. And that is something that I will always appreciate and remember that about him.
Yeah, I can definitely see how you guys have bonded. Just I haven't really talked to Pyro J. I haven't seen his content way too much, but I just know he's like one of those guys. As far as like mentors for me, I've been kind of just I kind of just me in life in general. I just kind of
Mhm.
do it, learn it, and go. Like just go.
Yeah, I I get that. I get that for sure. I will say it's always nice to meet people that are doing the same thing you are, or at least want to be like that feel like they're at that next step. Because when I was a new caster, like Pyro was that like the person that was quite a few steps ahead of me at that point. But he was like, this is like the person that I want to be in that position of like going full time. Like if that was ever something that I wanted to do, like he was the one that I wanted to talk to about it. But it's always nice, and especially I don't know about you, but like I always feel that at least a lot of the people that I've worked with, I've never felt like it being like super competitive in terms of like, doing the same thing. Like you're a caster, I'm a caster. No one that I have met has ever been like a negative experience for me to work with on the caster side. Like I've never
Yeah,
experienced that.
I can
Like
agree with that.
anytime I've needed help, like whether it's like, looking for audio equipment or trying to figure out stuff for overlays, or a Pyro helped me find a guy for overlays. He was like, "Oh yeah, I know a guy," and then like helped me figure that out. Um People have been more than gracious, which is like nice in a profession like this where like there's a lot of people that are trying to get to that highest level. And so it's really nice when you meet people like that. I encourage you, like, if there is somebody that you appreciate their work, like go and tell them that, and like ask them how they've done that. And if you're like genuine and want to know that, I'm sure they'll give you the time of day. Um so I encourage, because like it's always nice to have people like your compatriots and like colleagues in professions like this, especially where it's like sometimes you're very much, you know, you're a hired gun sometimes as a caster, where you're just like you're going into a league, maybe you don't know teams that well. Like when you have people that you respect, or have people that you appreciate who they are, like it's always nice to kind of add them to like your corner of like people that you respect.
Yeah, just with those kind of people, man, it's hard to find. But I think in this
Yeah.
community alone, we're like it's not competitors. It's like
No.
it's just a tight bond from everybody, and that's why this community, I think, is the best minor community in all of gaming. That's why I truly believe that. Because everyone is so tight. You know, no one really. Yes, they might get into arguments. Yes, that happens. But I don't think there's any true hatred for really anybody. And that's why this community has thrived. Like this has been without a doubt the best minor community in all of gaming. I've said this. Like it's by far. Like there's no one that can compare. No one, I'm telling you. Like it's the best community. And as far as like mentoring goes, right? I just took inspiration. Like my casting style is based off of really kind of what the RL casters do, obviously, but I kind of base myself of how I talk, what my persona is off like real life casters, because I think, or real life commentators rather, because I feel like I can mesh with those people well, and that's little do you know, guys. Probably gonna try and get into commentating as a full-time profession. Full time.
Love that.
So you could be seeing me on ESPN. You never know. That would be crazy.
At some point, like you're gonna get ESPN casters, like, or you're just gonna get like an ESPN division of esports at some point. I don't know when that is.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. There might be a little bit of time and some things needing to be broken down and built back up to get to that point. But
because
truly,
it's already been on ESPN.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like as far as like Sports Center top 10, I've seen a couple Rocket League clips.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised too if Twitch ever did a partnership with ESPN or any of the games do a partnership with ESPN, because I know Rocket League's partnered with Verizon, all these big companies to support their own streams, but they go through Twitch, and I know they're partnered with Twitch as well now. But I would love to see that.
So I remember, it's funny, I showed my parents a Rocket League thing because it was on ESPN. It was one of those ESPN, and really the sports world in general. There's a space of time where there's not any major sports going on, but basically they were replaying old footage. But it was when NRG was playing.
Dignitas?
It was when it might have been Dignitas.
Was it that game? It wasn't that game. It wasn't.
No. It wasn't Dignitas. It was Vitality, because it was the Turbo Pulse, Garrett G, Justin, and their first time winning
in season 8. All right.
In season 8, and they were showing basically that best of 7, because that was like a little less than an hour, I think. But like they didn't show the whole LAN, obviously, but they showed that whole series. And I actually like sat down with my parents, and I'm like, listen, there's nothing else to watch right now. Like, just watch this. And like, because they like, my parents are very supportive of what I do, and I love them, and they kind of understand because of a sports background, but like they don't really, I don't think they get the scope of like what RLCS is and like what some of these things are, because they've never been there. They've been to football games, they've been to baseball, they've seen it, but like you don't really know how many people it reaches when you just see a stream on Twitch and you see a number. It's like, oh, I guess there's 120,000 like people watching this. Like, no. When you see that it's in a large venue, and that you see, and you have the casters, and you have the crew, and you have the cameras and whatnot, like that's when it really hits you. So I had them sit down and watch it. And I kind of had to explain to my mom a little bit of like, oh, this is, what's going, like, this is why this is happening. But I just let it go, because I feel like Rocket League is one of those sports it's really easy for people to watch and be like, okay, I know like the goal is, like, I don't have to worry about like economy. I don't have to worry about different characters that do different abilities. I just know that it's these players against these players, and they're trying to win. And that's really, really it. I think more stuff like that is coming. I'm sure that would be the huge things, because everything that all of these esports like leagues, whether it's Valorant, whether it's Overwatch, they want to increase their viewership. That would be the easiest place to do it, if there was like a dedicated channel that was backed up by someone like that. I wouldn't be surprised if like Disney, however y'all feel about that, would be up to doing something like that because they're a company that's known for kind of getting to things and gobbling them up. But like I could see something like that being created, and that having a home, which would be very interesting.
Would be very interesting. I would love. It's definitely. It's going to happen. There's
It's
no
it's
way.
going to happen. I don't know if it's like the next 5 years, the next 10 to 15
It's
years.
gonna
I
happen
don't
while we're
know.
both alive, though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because and this kind of goes into our question, our thing later, so I won't go too far into it, but it's like the players are already there. Like the talent and the skill is already there in a lot of these different leagues, and like, it's fairly like, I say accessible to a point because you have to, own like a console and you have to, probably upgrade to a PC, but it's like there's a lot of people that are realizing now that's like, oh, you could make a living like this. You could go to college on scholarships like this. Like that is like in
I know
it's
it
starting.
is new,
It's
but at the same
yeah,
time, like it's
right.
definitely
The
gonna be done.
the infrastructure is now getting there where it's like, at my I actually did a visit to a middle school in my area, and they had like their video game club, and because I cast Rocket League and a friend of a friend was a teacher there,
Oh, you're
and I was
lucky. I
actually
would
able to
love to
do a
do
talk,
that.
and it's wonderful because it was 30 kids in middle school and they're like just learning how to do these things, and I'm like, I'm a caster, but also like, I'm decent at the game. I'm like C3. I probably don't deserve to be C3, but I'm like competent enough to get up there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I ranked, I got my, grand champ rewards, like yada, and they're just like, whoa, like what? And they had all these questions and yada yada yada. I'm like these kids are starving for stuff like that, and the fact that there are now teachers that are willing to like bring that stuff in and have a video game club, and like high schools now have like their actual sports and like,
Some high schools,
state
I don't know about in
state
my state.
championships and whatnot.
I don't know about I don't know if we have like a set league in my state, but that would be. I would play in it as a joke.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think it's that far away because
I know it's in some states
honestly,
already.
yeah, because it's in some states. I don't know if it's in, but I know that there's a couple. Because it really only takes, students being like, "Hey, can we start a club?" And then like, students in that district being like, "Oh, well, this school is a club. The district right over has a club. Like, let's have them play each other." And then like, the more that you do that, like these kids are already playing video games. Like they're
Oh
already
yeah,
like in it. It's just like the organization behind it is like what needs to like be built out and what people need to see. It's like, oh, there's like value in this, like we can like build stuff. But yeah, there's leagues for high school. It's not everywhere,
yeah. It's definitely
but
not up here yet.
they're pretty huge, and depending on where you are, like I think here it's starting. I don't know, yeah, but Minnesota, I think Sabres is saying in the chat, yeah, it's around for sure.
Yeah, up in the northeast of the United States, I have not heard of one. Probably one in New York, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, right? It's a matter of time. It's only a
Oh
matter
yeah,
of time. And
absolutely.
I think it also just with gaming in general. I just want to bring up this point too. Just with like gaming in general, right? It's going to become it's going to become a major sport. It's going to be the major five. It's not going to be the major four. It's going to become the
Yeah.
major five in the North America. It's definitely going to happen because it's not about controlling the addiction. It's not about limiting it, because I know there has been studies that it can, like looking at screens too long can be like damaging to your eyes or whatever the case may be, right? But at the same time, it's becoming so popular. It's like if you're addicted to an actual sport, like for instance,
Yeah.
I'm addicted to playing hockey. I'm addicted to playing football. Those are the two sports I play. And if someone's addicted to playing baseball, basketball, soccer, if they like to swim, like if you're addicted to something, no one can limit you from doing that because it's what you love.
Yeah.
For one, and for two,
Yeah.
it's mainstream enough. Like gaming is becoming mainstream enough where these leagues are going to start happening. It's going to be on TV. Like we just talked about it. It's going to be on TV at one point. It's just when. Matter of when. The base is there. It's just who's gonna step up and take the opportunity and start something revolutionary. But as far as like what path you can take is if you want to play like sports, electronic sports is not going to be an uncommon thing in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because of where we are like as a society in 2023, because like what you were saying, it's like you could be obsessed with playing hockey or you be obsessed with playing football, and at one point I'm sure that there was a conversation like any sport, like back when it was just because like you can't like make a living off that, like there's not a way for you to do this, like you should like learn other skills to make sure that you get a job, and like those are fair things. Like it's fair to be balanced and like not put all your eggs in one basket. However, they're like now, as we've seen that there are very talented individuals all over, this country and all over the world for certain sports, like football, like baseball, like basketball, and like there's a very clear path of like what you need to do. It's not uncommon now for like people to be like, no, this is my thing. Like you see interviews of like NFL players and baseball players and basketball players. It's like, no, they were doing this since they were very young. They got obsessed. They joined AAU, or they joined like for baseball, it's
It's the
they joined
same
travel
thing.
teams. Exactly. Right now, esports is in the situation where it's like there is now the end product, and we're going to get less of the conversation because now people are learning, and as the generation that plays video games is getting older, we know now that like, oh, you could go to college for this, like, oh, it's in your high school, there's a club, it's like it's going to be normalized, and
As
so
anything
we're
else.
absolutely going to see those paths. Yeah. And esports is the beneficiary of like all those other sports, because at some point there was that conversation of like, maybe 50 years ago, someone's looking at you, VEXY. It's like, you're playing hockey? Like, you're never gonna like, what is the hockey league? Like, not that many like teams. And now it's like, oh, you play hockey. Like, oh, there's like competitive leagues. Like, oh, that's like, if you want to get to the NHL, like, or play in college, like, oh, that's like a reasonable thing. Like, that's fine. It's just we have to learn more about it. And for a while, and I don't think it's going to be nearly as long because people play video games all over the place, but for a while, people just don't know, and they fear things that they don't quite understand, but the understanding is coming.
Yeah, indeed. Um, we're gonna take a break on that topic because I know we can go pretty much all day on it. Um, so we're gonna get into a little bit about you. Then we are going to hit the break, and then we are going to talk about something that is. We're gonna talk more in depth about esports orgs. But before that, how is gaming? I know we touched upon this. How is gaming integrated in your life specifically? I know we touched upon this as a broad topic, but how is it really integrated in yours?
Yeah, I am such a fan of gaming, and I've been doing it for a while. So I'm a competitive guy, so I've done a lot of competitive gaming. Like, obviously, I've been playing Rocket League, but um I started off with a lot of like when I was playing on Xbox, I started off with like a lot of story and solo games. I'm a huge like nerd in general, so like Star Wars and Marvel and Lord of the Rings, like all things that I really like. But I really liked playing cooperative games, or like multiplayer games. So like I still am a huge Battlefield fan, like competitive shooters, or like these sandbox shooter games. Like I played Battlefield 3 and 4 a ton. I was super into Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2 or 3. I was like in middle school and high school, like during that prime of the Modern Warfares. And yeah, and my thing, especially with like playing video games, is I always like playing games like with a team of people. So like with Overwatch, I really like playing with a team. With I anytime I create things or I want to play games, like playing with people has always been something that's like really important to me. So right now, as I am older, I play Rocket League a lot. I picked it up first on the Xbox One when it came out for Xbox, and then when I built my PC, switched over and continued to play it. I play Escape from Tarkov as much as I love and hate that game. But it's it's there's something fun about it, and it's fun to be frustrated, and the frustration can be fun at some point. I really like it. Also, it's like really fun to play with friends. I really like playing Overwatch. It's something that I picked up after a while of not playing it. That I really like. And then I play Valorant, but like on the other side, I like playing like single story stuff. So, um, I've played like the Star Wars Survivor games. I've played a game called Sifu. I've played um, I'm so excited to play Dead Space because like I really, really like horror games. I played Alien Isolation for the longest time and was scared to finish that game, but finally did. Dead Space is gonna be so good. I really like games like that force you into situations and are very cognizant of what they're doing and are well made. And so far I'm hearing nothing but brilliant stuff about it. So eventually I will get to just playing that on stream when I'm not doing any casting things. Maybe this week, but we'll see. But there's so many different types of games that I really like. And I just enjoy it from top to bottom. My partner, my girlfriend, we met and her family is like a big Halo family, and we actually played a lot of Gears of War together back in the old days where we did horde mode. So sometimes we still do stuff like that. Um and also I play like Pokemon and stuff like that. So my hand is in the cookie jar, but like all the way in like up to the elbow because I just play such a plethora of games because I just really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know Falcon put it in chat. I think I see you looking at it. Have you?
Oh, Mario Kart competitive.
Um,
I have I feel like I did it back not in
I have a
the
story
newest
about
one.
that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I played a little bit on like the Wii U, maybe, but I've always like raced friends and then like have lost confidence every time I race like online because I'm not that good at it. Like I'm okay, but I don't know if I would be like I don't know if I'd be on the competitive scene for Mario Kart if you know what I mean.
So my deal with Mario Kart, I started with Wii and
Hmm.
DS. Um, I played DS more than Wii. I pretty much got really good at DS. Played Wii a little bit. I wasn't really a big Wii guy. I got my 3DS. 3DS. I know,
Hmm.
although I didn't play online that much, I was ranked pretty highly. I'm just gonna put that
Okay.
out there. I was ranked
All
pretty
right.
good. I didn't do like any like actual races for money, but I was ranked in the VR category virtual rating pretty high. And I still play Mario Kart
Yeah.
regularly to this day, and I'm open to actually maybe doing a Mario Kart series on this channel.
I was about to say if you're playing that much, like you might as well like put it out
I
there.
play it
You
like
gotta.
I play it every time I'm at this house. I have a Switch downstairs. There's a potential I could bring it up here and plug it in, and I could just screw it, just play.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
It's not a bad plan. It's not a bad plan.
You know what? Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
you're getting excited. I see the gears turning. You're like, that could work. Like that's, I love that.
So what I'm hearing is we play. All right, Falcon. That is the one game where I will break the streak. I will break the streak.
Ooh.
No, I am so confident that I can break the streak. I even bought a pro controller. But Falcon, we'll do that for another time. We'll do that. We'll do that another time. Obviously not today.
I'm pre-ordering my tickets now. I gotta get the popcorn
You
ready
can
for
cast
this.
it. Like
Oh my god, yes, absolutely.
so
I'm down.
so
Let me know.
Falcon, we have a little joke on this channel. Every time we do a game, we try to get Falcon on and see what he can cast. I have a clip of him casting Uno. I'm not even kidding. I can
I
show
love
you
that.
after the show.
I am so excited for this.
And Falcon, if you want to join on and cast our game today, I bet you can, because I think you've casted this before. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, last two questions here. Then we will get on to probably the most heated. Well, not the most heated segment yet. I emphasize yet. What do you want to see out of just One Up Gaming? I always like to ask this. By the One Up Gaming casters. Give me a little personal feedback.
Yeah. So let me just to put it into context. Like, I was a part of the group of casters. I was a part of the fall tournament. And that was such a joy to be around. Like, it was really like a breath of fresh air. With like the landscape of what everything was going on at the time. It was a ton of fun. And I think with when you have another event, when you have an event like that, like, obviously something that you want is like you want that event again. But I know as an organization, like, it takes a lot of work. So one of the things that I always want from orgs to do more is just to have a roadmap that they like release of like different like plans that they want to do. And like it just, like, when you make stuff like that public, you
Build up hype.
kind of you build up hype, you let people know what you're doing, and also you kind of you hold yourself accountable to like different things that you're doing as well. So so in my job, I basically started working at the shop when it was considered like a startup, and basically like brand new business. A lot of things are going on, very hectic, and a lot of organizations like team orgs, they're basically startups. Like, I know they're not like always like making a lot of revenue, but that's basically what it is. And so one of my things is always like figuring out like, what is the intention? Like, what are we trying to do here? And sometimes like it's hard to always figure out like where a teamwork is. It's like, are we going to do another event? Like, what do we need to make that happen? So I always like when orgs are like very, very much like, here's our plan. Here's what we're trying to do in the next 6 months, next year, of like, we want at least one kind of event this way, or we want to, make content, or like whatever it is, like that thinking of being like, okay, cool. Like, let's make a plan for the next, however many months, right? And then like you share that with people, and then people kind of engage with that, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. They will expect things because you're putting this expectation, and that's kind of the part about holding yourself accountable. But I think it goes because everyone kind of has a vision and then is on board with that, in kind of knowing the steps to go next. So that would be the thing, because I think, obviously you and I are part of the tournament that is coming up this week. I am also casting a match and casting with Blue as well, which I'm very excited
I
about.
have Outlaw. Our cast is it's about to be so jokes. I can already tell.
I have not casted with Outlaw yet.
Me neither, but I already know it's gonna be funny.
I'm kind of upset about it because I do need to cast, because he's been in my stream and has been a great time. I just have not had the chance to cast with him. But that's what I would say. Like, building a roadmap and kind of letting people in. I think it's such a huge thing. I am a big transparency person. And so like having people that are like, hey, here's what we want to do. We want to try and do these things. Like, this is what we think we're capable of. Like, I love stuff like that.
Interesting. That's a good answer. I like that answer. I'll definitely bring that up. Because we definitely could do that. It's not out of the ordinary. So last question to wrap it up. Then we'll get into pretty much the rest of the show after the break. What's most exciting for you personally in the future? What are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to the most is so I'm in talks, so Brambo, someone you've had on this channel as well, he and I have grown to work with each other a lot on different things, and so something that we're actually talking about, and we're messaging about later, is working on like group streams with me and him and his partner, and like just trying to get a group together to do like group content of like different games and let's plays, which is really, really cool.
Ooh.
I don't know when we're gonna do it. It
If you
might
need a
be
+1, let me know.
next week.
I got you.
Yeah, hey, It may be, but it's because again, I said it before. Playing in a group and experiencing things in the group is much more enjoyable for me. Like even when I'm streaming, like it's partially why I get tilted when I stream Rocket League alone, because like I don't have anyone to bounce anything off on, and I typically blame
Facts.
myself for everything. When I'm playing Rocket League, I'm like, I'm so dumb.
I
I'm
tried
so
to do
bad.
a
Why am I
Sunday
doing
night
this?
like stream, like a relaxed stream. I can't do it by
Yeah.
myself. I just can't do it.
It's
Only
all of
casting.
the
Only
relaxation
casting.
goes. Yeah, exactly. So I've learned, and like I'm so comfortable casting by myself at this point. Like I've gotten a lot better at it, but I've learned that when I'm playing games, I want to be playing with somebody. Like I don't know if it was as last week or 2 weeks ago, but I was playing Escape from Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov is stress in a game. It is just stress incarnate. But like when I'm talking with somebody and I'm communicating and we're calming, like also like I just feel better, and I feel better about streaming as well, because like there's conversation going, and as much as I love hearing the sound of my own voice as a caster, I feel like there actually being conversation, kind of playing off that while I'm streaming, is something that sometimes I miss. Um, so that is what I'm excited about. I'm excited to work with people and stream more, like have a date where I'm doing group streams and doing that and having fun with that and making content out of that. And making TikToks and YouTube videos and stuff. I'm trying to get into it, and I post my first TikTok and I got like 800 views, which is like cool. So I'm trying to get better at like documenting each of my matches, making content out of it, and doing that whole journey. It takes a lot of work, and I'm still not very good at editing and knowing all the tricks. But it's a commitment to try and build upon the work that you do. And I'm sure that, like, you as a caster and a content creator, that grind, and that like trying to make the most of everything that you do, and it's like a learning process as you're doing it.
Yeah. I would say I'm very shallow waters in the content creation category, but I like this was a stretch for me. I can't lie. This is a stretch. Like I'm definitely stepping out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing something I love. So there's definitely going to be more to come with just this show in general, but I'd just like to thank you first of all for answering all those questions. We skipped over a couple because I know you just touched upon them briefly throughout the conversation we had, and I think that's just a testament of how deep you can talk about things and how good of a conversation that we could have about all this stuff. But obviously, we're on a time restraint. Well, we're not on a time restraint, but we are on a time restraint, really. So we can't talk about it all day. We don't have 9 hours to kill, which I would.
Right.
Anyways, I thank you for answering all those questions, but
yeah,
there's still more to come, people. You got to refill your popcorn bags, refill your popcorn buckets. I don't know really what to call it. Maybe refill your drink. Maybe go to the bathroom and get set for the second half of the VEXY show, where there is more to come. A little prelude is that we are going to talk about how orgs function and how orgs do things. And then we are going to play a game, as always. And then we'll see if I can break my only defeated, not undefeated, only defeated record of 0-4 against Cobra Warrior. Anyways, guys, give us 10 minutes to recuperate, and we'll be right back. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to Spotify. No, really. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. You could have listened to an 8-track tape. If you knew what an 8-track tape looked like. But you listened to Spotify. Thanks for that. And you still have hundreds more playlists to enjoy.
Look at you, listening to Spotify while you do whatever
Live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of the VEXY show. Me and Cobra just had a long talk because the game we intended to play has unfortunately crapped out for me. So we have a backup game. But before we get into that, Cobra, what did you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to take this opportunity because we talked a little bit about esports as a whole, and we talked a little bit about organizations as well. And so something that I've been talking to you about, and I kind of wanted to bring up is one of like that kind of hottest situations that's happening in the Rocket League scene right now that I think is like really important to talk about is what's going on with the WCB, which is women's carball. So for those of you that may not know, women's carball is the biggest league right now that's going on for um, women and basically any gender or non-offendable gender that so they have a safe space to operate as a league and compete at the highest level. And they've been going on. They're currently in the middle of their 5th season, and plenty of people that we know in terms of our friends and colleagues are either casters or producers or have worked for some of these streams. And it was announced a few days ago actually that they are pausing all their operations in the middle of their season due to lack of financial and commercial support. And this has kind of sparked a whole debate in terms of what event organize event organizers need to do, what teams and organizations need to do to keep the space alive. And so I just really wanted to talk about it because it's something that, as people that are having to work with team organizations and work in a lot of these productions, like it's something that's super important. Um, and kind of sad that stuff like this happens. So um basically what happened is Casey Pioneers, who is a North American based business, they have a team in Australia actually in the RLCS. um they were the owners of women's carball. They basically were in charge of funding and making sure that the prize pools were there and all of the things about production. And basically they had quote like significant commitments to fund the league, the prize pool, and everything. And they had to stop, and they made this announcement on their Discord a few days ago. And that is how their teams found out that they were not able to like get the funds that they've needed, and they're kind of in a little bit of trouble. And that they feel like they cannot continue to carry like the sole financial commitment of the thing. So basically, women's carball championship, the season 5, has come to a halt, and a lot of the staff that has been working on this and some of the casters have not been paid this entire season, which is really really sad. And this is something that we're kind of seeing all across the board for a lot of these leagues that are kind of susceptible to this, and a lot of like the bubble scene, which is something that we kind of live in like the Rocket League like second third tier and whatnot. So what I kind of wanted to bring up with you, Vexy, and just to stream is how like what we can do better to make sure that esports takes the next step, which we know is inevitably going to happen. But it's not there quite yet. Um, so why is this happening, right? So Casey Pioneers and I think a lot of organizations currently, they run off of sponsorships
Yeah,
mostly.
indeed. All day.
And it's one of those things where while sponsorships are great, if you lose sponsorships,
They can't carry
and
you.
that is
That's pretty much what we're
they
saying.
cannot carry you, absolutely. And so it's been racking around my brain. I made a whole Twitter thread about it, and just seeing some of the business models. But we're gonna unfortunately, I think we're gonna see a lot of these different organizations kind of have to learn, um, hopefully not the hard way, but I think some of them are, that very hard fact, and that venture capital is not going to get you everywhere, and investors aren't going to save you for everything because you know we're still not seeing like all the returns from esports yet. Like we don't know how much money it's making. At least from my knowledge, like Psionics, I'm not sure how much of revenue split that like some of these orgs are getting. And, even with orgs buying teams, like it's a risk as you're paying these players, and you're not really seeing a lot from Rocket League, like in Psionics as a game, unless your team is incredibly successful. So one of the things that I really wanted to bring up is like what orgs can do and how they could continue to um, work in their best interest and really serve the community, because we need orgs. Like we need the people that are passionate about this game and really want these things to work out. Um, and so what can they do? And one of the things that I think that orgs really need to focus on is making sure they diversify their revenue streams and not just rely on sponsorships, because sponsorships are nice, but they should be like the cherry on top of everything. And the way that you have to make money is you have to really lean into content. I mean, every org should be about content at some like point, but you have to lean into content, you have to lean into events, you have to lean into merch, and that should be
Your
like
mainstream.
yeah, that should be the foundation of that, because that is something that is completely in your control. And then sponsorships could be the thing that really put you over the top. And the thing that I'm kind of disappointed in with Casey Pioneers, and I'm sure that other orgs do this as well, but they agreed to do this, and they said that they were basically going to be funding this whole thing, and with production and all the teams and the prize pool, it's a lot to take on, and doing that without having the funding secured already is a disservice to everybody that's in that's involved with you. And you know as a caster, I hate seeing that casters aren't getting paid. And Vexy, I'm sure that you're in circles as well where you see that like people work for different organizers or different tournaments, and they don't see pay for a long time, or contracts aren't fulfilled, and it kind of delegitimizes the esports space because it happens so much. um but it's like we want to see these organizations succeed and thrive and do better, because we want like cool things to happen, right? um so basically, I just wanted to talk about that and kind of get your thoughts, because it's super unfortunate. It's also really unfortunate because this is like a women's league. It's just something that is like super necessary, and it's great that we have a space, like a safe space for these women to play. And while they told some of their staff, they didn't tell the teams and the organizations until the message came out that they're just halting. Um, so it's a little disappointing. I think these organizations will need to evolve, and because right now esports, even though we talked about earlier, we know it's going to be huge, and obviously the people are here, but we're not yet at a spot where it is like too big to fail. Like the NFL, like the National Football League is too big to fail. The NBA is too big to fail. Um Esports has a while to go before it is too big to fail. Um and having that and figuring out what the steps is to keep orgs alive and keep these events going and making it sustainable is something that I really um think should be at the forefront of everyone's mind, because we work in this space and we want it to succeed and we want to see all these cool things happen. Um, and I just think that it's such an important conversation to have now, um, because we're gonna start seeing more stuff come out about it. So I'm wanted to take a moment to talk about that, to acknowledge it, to talk about things that we could do, because obviously everyone wants to do events. Bubble scene teams need a place to play. As baseball has you know double A, triple A, single A. There's stuff for these players to go. Football has the college football system, and they also have different leagues that are popping up as well. NBA has the G League, like, and they're supported by the top. And grassroots is really difficult, but we have to find a solution to keep esports afloat so that people find ways into it. And I just think that's really important.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Just these orgs, I feel like just have to take more accountability in what they're getting into, and I think that's just the biggest thing of how how the esports scene is going to grow into something where it's too big to fail, is what you said. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was a good speech on the Women's Carball League and how orgs really should be functioning if we want to get bigger. And now we are on to the most hated segment. The most brutal segment. The most agonizing segment.
This is the segment that you don't like.
This is the segment that I don't like, but it's the staple, so you have to do it. And we always joke about this man being on our cast, and he is back to return today. Our first game, which we tried to play, was in fact Valorant, but my Valorant said I had to reboot my computer, and we are already an hour and a half into stream. So I said, hell no, we're not rebooting my computer. So we're going to play a good old classic game of Rocket League. And at the helm, casting it all, as always, yours truly, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. 3,400 followers on Twitch, Red Falcon SS. Red Falcon SS, please stay your peace.
Hello. You said stay in my peace. I'll stay in my peace. Awesome. But don't mean to flex or anything. It's 3,500 now. 3,500.
The flex.
It is the flex. You gotta flex. You gotta flex whenever you can flex. But yeah, no, I'm glad to finally be back here. I was gonna do Valorant casting. Never did Valorant casting before.
Another part of the episode of what can Falcon cast and what can't Falcon cast.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a segment, honestly.
It's going to be a segment in the future. I'm telling you, it's going to be.
We should just call it blind casting. I think that'd be beautiful.
Oh my lord, that's an amazing idea.
Blind casting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I don't think VEXY is looking forward to it. I think Cobra's looking forward to it. Cobra, how good is your one skills?
So I will say I'm a competent defender. So I'm usually fairly good at stopping my opponents, but it is the creating my own shot that is sometimes an issue for me. So I'm going to be looking for VEXY to make a mistake and then counterattack. That is my goal, and I don't care if he knows it because that's all I got. And we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I mean that is the basis. That is the foundation of ones after all. VEXY, I believe, every time he's played ones, it didn't go well for him. Last time he played 1v1s in Rocket League, I believe it was against Sporty FC. Actually, no, was it against Flip Out? It was against Flip Out. It was against Flip Out. Either way, the result was still the same. It did not end up well. And yeah, we are now here, episode 6. Which honestly is a lot of episodes.
I'm actually 0-5, not 0-4. Sorry.
0-5.
0-5.
Oh, right, because episode 1 was just yourself.
Yes.
I remember that. Okay, well, the undefeated.
Defeated is what you should say.
The undefeated defeated streak. Definitely going to VEXY Lad. He is the 0-5 player. So the way this segment will work, right, is I believe I've invited. Oh, never mind. I've been invited to the party. So the way this segment works is I'm the caster. I'll be casting a 1v1. It'll be a normal best of 3, 1v1 against both of you, VEXY. Hopefully we'll get a win. Cobra, going to look to continue that loss streak for VEXY. And basically, both of you will mute me in Discord. That way I could do my thing. And yeah, we're going to be having fun. All goes, demos, goals. You can't do passing because it is a 1v1, so good luck with that.
Cobra, just say this match real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that is basically how everything will be run.
Okay. Thank you for that, Falcon. So let's hope I don't suck. Let's hope I'm not going to lose this. I have to change the team names because they are names of. Let's see.
Oh, geez, I did notice that. Hey, you're lucky that you're facing me in a 1v1 because I will say I'm not a 1v1 guy, but Sporty is definitely a 1v1 dude.
Listen, I'm not I'm washed. I haven't played Rocket League in forever, dude.
Hey, I gotta agree with Cobra there, man. Like I played Sporty once. He is a really good one player.
Hey, he
Got
doesn't
bounce triples on
mess.
deck. He
doesn't mess around at all either. I cast him all the way back in IGL. And I'm sure he won his lead. Like he was like undefeated at one point and was just like wiping the floor with people. So not the most fun opponent to play. But you got me.
So Cobra, I know you've been around in the scene for a while. Actually, have you played any one circuits back in IGL or?
Yeah,
like
so
any
I played 3 circuits before I became a caster. So I started out as 4 circuits technically. My first circuit, I was a sub that basically got played in because they were looking for a rotational guy. But I started out as a sub just by lurking around in the IGL Discord, and someone needed me, and I tried out and was good enough to be a sub, and I got put in some good situations and led to some wins. Ended up starting for that team in the next split, where I believe we got to the semifinals. I think we got to the bronze match and didn't end up playing the bronze match. And then I played on 2 other teams after that in typically threes. I did mostly the threes stuff because that's my most enjoyable game mode, I think. But yeah, so I've been around. It's been a while since I've played on a team though, because as soon as I started casting, I basically stopped playing because I really like to practice and do all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do both.
Well, luckily you don't have to do both. It is a 1v1 after all, so hopefully the skills of the single player will kick in. But yeah, I'm waiting for both teams to join in so you guys can officially join on your teams, and we'll start this thing.
Oh my god. Alright.
All right, muting you.
Oh shoot, my controller. Damn it. My controller's not connected to this. Why is it not?
And the excuses already coming
No,
out
it's actually not connected. There we go. Alright, we're good. Alright, I'm muting.
I'm putting it over there.
Cobra, did you mute? I'm assuming the silence is a yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1. Again, a quick reminder how this is going to work. This is a normal best of 3 1v1 matchup. Of course, in the blue, the home team, the host of the show, the Whiffinator himself, VEXY, Dylan or VEXY, Lad. He's going to concede a first goal to a Cobra Warrior. Cobra Warrior, pretty renowned name in the casting scene of things. He's also a pretty variety player. If you guys were here for part 1 of the interview, well, what are you doing here? Go back and watch it when you have time. Of course, stay for this round here because it's going to be a fun series ahead of us. Cobra Warrior is going to go for that midfield boost. Has plenty of boost in his tank here. He's going to go for a full volley shot here off the back wall. Beautiful save. Kind of flopping around, though, on defense. VEXY can't quite clear it out of his net. 33 seconds in and already a 2-goal deficit for VEXY Lad as Cobra. I mean, they don't call him Cobra for nothing. He's a Cobra on the field, slithering around the defense. Cobra Warrior, the second half, the Warrior is definitely showing out. Although he only has Cobra in his name on Rocket League, that's because he is sneaky on the field. It's Cobra on the back wall now, 97 boost in a tank. VEXY retreating back on defense. Cobra going to force VEXY into a shadow position, but VEXY actually faking the initial challenge. A nice soft cut here by Cobra, forcing the 50 past VEXY. VEXY trying to catch up to the ball, but it's Cobra going into the midfield. Now, that's a smart play. Taking the boost away from your opponents is a very strong thing because, again, in 1v1s, anything can happen at any moment. And what I mean by that is that any slip up, any mistake, any boost steal from the opponent can have a result on the field. It's kind of like a domino effect. When you knock the first domino over, the other dominoes fall over. Cobra stealing the boost away from the midfield, get that boost control, has the possession on the field, and eventually those dominoes will fall, and that end result is the 3rd goal in this first game. 351 again. This is a best of 3, so both these players are going to need to win 2 games out of the entire series to get that clean sweep. Of course, the way you get a reverse sweep is by losing the first game and then winning the next 2. But Cobra, he's just gonna take he's gonna take a wing off of a bird right here as he goes flying into the air. Cobra in a nice pop up here as he continues the aerial play. Wasn't that impressive of an air dribble, but he got some height on the ball, got it in, and we're now sitting at a 4-goal differential, a mountainous lead here for Cobra Warrior. VEXY now on the kickoff. Cobra, good start here. He's going to look for a follow play, but VEXY getting to the ball quick. Now, that is a thing I think you need to do on the field to counter this Cobra Warrior play style that we're seeing on the field, is to have that speed, be there for the initial challenge, rush the defender, because initially when a defender's making a play, they have to make a decision very quickly, and if you beat them to that decision, then of course the play will go the opposite way. Cobra able to clear it back into the corner. Nice controlled pressure here. Trying to bait out a defender here from VEXY. VEXY going for the 50. I like the bait. I like the bait play by Cobra, baiting out the 50. He actually went for the fake out there, but beautiful 5-0 lead now. Cobra setting up a little bit of a dribble. VEXY left in an awkward position. Completely got owned by that crossbar. And the 5th goal now going over to Cobra Warrior. There is still 3 minutes and 2 seconds on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, as this is going to be a long series ahead of us. As right now, I don't know if you guys can see on stream. You can see on stream. Both players are locked in. VEXY looks like he's very determined. I will say that. He is very determined to get this goal. But Cobra, again, he's just playing the keep away game. He's slithering around the field very fast, has the pressure, has the momentum, controlling his boost. VEXY, I mean, he has 100 boosts in the tank as well, but you got to control the ball a little bit more. Cobra doing a fantastic job at that, keeping the ball close, keeping the dribble going, except for that touch he did miss there. Cobra, 0 boost in the tank, now grabs the 100 pad as VEXY. Now powerful shot to the back wall, will waterfall down. Cobra clearing it back into the midfield, but VEXY, shot to the corner wall. Nice challenge here by Cobra, an overcommit here by VEXY Dylan. As VEXY Dylan might just concede a goal here. VEXY is going to look to clear it away, but Cobra is there. VEXY Dylan now on the right wall, throwing a shot to Cobra. Cobra looking for the catch. Cobra dodging a demo attempt. 67 boost in the tank here. VEXY missing another challenge. 6-0 now. As this time, a little bit more time went on the clock there. We are now at the 2-minute mark, as we've officially passed the halfway point in this game. Cobra, a nice old bounce dribble into a hook shot. And again, the added aggression, I do got to applaud the aggression here from VEXY Dylan, but you also got to realize that there is no defender behind you. There is no second teammate on your side. You have to be careful when you are pushing up. A lot of over-aggression can lead to counterattack plays, and we've seen that exact thing happen numerous times in this first game right now. A lot of aggressive plays coming out from VEXY, and then the hyperextension kicks in. VEXY now setting up for another bounce dribble play, has a decent dribble going, does lose it. Cobra now looking for the clear away, and again, granted, he did have a good play going. Overcommit did kick in as Cobra now looking for a shot to the back wall. A beautiful double touch. That's what I like to call a cheeky double touch. It's not off the back wall and above the net, but it's a double off the side of the back wall. Shot right behind the defender. Beautifully crafted double touch in. 7-0 lead with a little over 90 seconds on the clock here. And, I mean, Cobra, he had a lot of experience back in IGL, but he was playing with teams. I could see why. I could see why he is not playing with the team anymore, because he is a man. He is a beast right now on the field. 7-0 right now, as he only needs one more goal for the 7-1 game. 1:16 on the clock as Dylan throwing a shot on target. Nice air roll there as Cobra on the left-hand side. 70 boost in the tank, looking for the control dribble. As Cobra now looking for the control dribble play. VEXY just not giving up whatsoever. Right now, I think right now, it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to need to pull off the reverse sweep if you are VEXY lad. You throw on another shot there, a huge overcommit again, but a miss here by Cobra. Cobra had the open net, decided to throw the shot off, or well, he didn't decide to. The shot just did go off. Cobra now going back on the defense on his own back wall. 67 boost in a tank. Trying getting a wave dash, did slip up. VEXY there for the challenge. A good beat here. Now it's an opportunity here for VEXY lad, as that's going to be the first goal. VEXY Dylan getting the first goal of game number 1 for himself. A good beat past the defender, Cobra Warrior, and a good follow-up as well. I'm not a big football fan, but I do believe that is I want to say the Patriots banner. So let me just quickly double check that before I say something wrong and trigger somebody. It is the New England Patriots. If I do know correctly, Tom Brady used to be on the team. So you got to make sure you do Tom Brady proudly. 7-1, 16 seconds on the clock here. VEXY Dylan's going to need to pull off the reverse sweep here. Cobra Warrior looking to take it down the field. Finds a bump onto VEXY Dylan. Here's an opportunity to get the second goal, but Cobra Warrior, quick reactive skills, gets back in time. Still a couple seconds on the board. This is the last opportunity here for VEXY, but he can't keep it up. And game number 1 will officially conclude. Game number 2 is right around the horizon, but we got to talk a little bit about stats here because, I mean, granted, this is the VEXY Lad show. We're interviewing Cobra Warrior. I think it's rightfully so. We look at his stats as well. So far, game 1, 10 shots on the board, 7 of them going in. A very accurate player on the field. 70% goal shot ratio is one that you cannot overlook. 2 saves as well on the field. Of course, there's no passing plays because it's only a 1v1. After all, Cobra Warrior, 10 shots on the field. That's a triple striker. And of course, 7 goals. That's a double score medalist. Not to mention a double hat trick on the field as well. But for VEXY Lad, VEXY Dylan, 4 shots, 1 goal, finding the back of the net, and 3 saves. So he's been a lot on defense as so. Cobra Warrior did put on a lot of shots. But if it is one thing I will note is that VEXY Dylan, a little bit aggressive on the commits as well. Mind's in the right place, but I guess you could say the passion, the drive, the push a little bit too far. But we're going to be heading into game at number 2. Both teams can join on in. So both teams are joining on in. VEXY Dylan, he's going to need to pull off a reverse sweep here against Cobra Warrior. Now, a quick reminder, VEXY Lad, across all the different games, that is Rocket League, that is chess, that is Uno, as well as I believe he also played, correct me if I'm wrong, Stream, I believe he played, I want to say it was Halo Infinite. I want to say it was Halo Infinite against Brambo. It was Halo. Beautiful. But he's currently 0-5. So he's looking for a win. He's looking for a win, VEXY Lad. Looking to get the first goal here. VEXY having to play a little defense. Going to take it to the right wall. 100 boosts in tank. Cobra looking for a defense. Nice power clear down the field. Cobra looking for the controlled catch here. Just like the fangs of a Cobra. Do Cobras have fangs? I gotta look that up now. Do Cobras have fangs? I believe they do. Of course they do. They're snakes. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. You can only get these Falcon moments on the VEXY show. Cobra, a beautiful save there. As he's going to look to clear it down the field. That means I can make more fang puns now. This is fun. Throws a shot to the back. We'll hear VEXY. Now has a wide open net here. Let's see if he could get it in his grasp. He does. Cobra with the demo, the fangs sinking in, but the fangs venoms just couldn't quite do the damage quick enough. VEXY Dylan looking to take it down the field. Gets the first goal of game number 2. First minute and 7 seconds already gone. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be shaping up to be a pretty interesting game. Of course, if you were not here for game number 1, it was a very one-sided start to the series. Cobra Warrior did take the lead as he is now taking the lead on offense as he equalizes game 2 with a 1-1 game. Cobra, beautiful first touch on the dribble, sends it up with a full volley right past the defender VEXY Dylan. He's aiming for the top left-hand corner, but we're officially tied back up. 3:46 on the board here, Cobra and Dylan. A quick reminder as well, Cobra just needs this one more game, and he will take home the clean sweep here in his best of 3, as that's an own goal. I don't know really how to commentate that one. Cobra, beautiful dribble there, sets up a nice pop shot, throws a shot on target. Dylan did get a connection, but I don't think it was enough forward momentum on the ball. And yeah, we are now sitting at a 2-1 game. Cobra Warrior reclaiming the lead here. Cobra taking a shot on target. Not again, Dylan. Not again. You can't have twice in a row. Cobra almost pulling off 2 goals back to back, just like that. VEXY Dylan gain a low 50 now on the counterattack play. VEXY on the right-hand side. Cobra looking to defend. An early rush challenge there might just cost an own goal, or might cost a goal here to be scored for VEXY. As VEXY throwing a shot to the left-hand side. Cobra looking for the dribble, takes it up on the right-hand side, while VEXY has his corner boost to his name. It's a shot to the back wall. It does clear to the right-hand side. It's Cobra there for the challenger, trying to get the wide angle shot, but a good catch onto Cobra Warrior from VEXY Lad. Sometimes you just hate to see it in 1v1s where you kind of dribble your opponents. You get underneath your opponents to catch them as they're recovering, like we just see right here, Cobra getting tripled by VEXY Lad temporarily. It's one of those moments in ones that you just do not like to see, or any game mode you don't like to see. But VEXY Lad, that is something you would love to see. A 2-2 game. VEXY off the right-hand side. Well, Zerg boost in a tank. Doesn't need any boost. Gets a nice half volley popper of a shot. 240 on the board. And we are equalized right back up. And we're back in this familiar situation. Kickoff yet again. VEXY is there for the kickoff. Does lose to Cobra. Is going to go for that right midfield boost. Cobra on the right-hand side. Well, going to look to make a little bit of a play. Control dribble. Trying to get the high 50, but it's a clear down the field. Here's an opportunity. VEXY with the shot. He gets a demo as well. He pinches off the side post. Can he finish? Yes, he can. 3-2 game. Less than half the clock left to go. And I was getting nervous there. I saw the side post. I was like, oh no, he's going to pinch it across the entire field. But no, the pinch was just right. Got the goal, got the lead, and VEXY is back on top. A 1-goal differential and a different environment we are seeing from both of these players. The last game, again, it was a very dominant performance. A lot of haymakers being thrown on the field by Cobra Warrior, and VEXY now having to deal with the bruises, having to deal with the damages, all the scars left in game 1. He's going to look for the counterattack, but Cobra's not done. He says, hey, I got haymakers in game 1, but we're not finished here. Add on another one for a tied game. And again, this is a very, very close series right here. 3-3 game, 2:04 on the clock here. Cobra, wide open net, won the challenge at the midfield. You saw Dylan, he saw the opportunity to potentially come back, but of course, Cobra Warrior, he has fangs for a reason. He is a warrior for a reason. He has control, and he's also tough on the field. 3-3 game, 2 minutes on the board. Cobra is going to look for a dribble. No, he's actually going to go back on the defense. Going to look for a shadow defense. Here's VEXY. Going to pop it up high. I'm assuming he was going for a Keem Stomp there. Couldn't really say what he was going for, but Cobra is going to make a swift counterattack play off it. 148 on the board here. VEXY, I believe he wants to go for a high pop fake onto Cobra, but Cobra, he is not going to fall for it whatsoever. 4-3 now on the board. Less than 2 minutes left to go. And again, anything can change this environment here in game at number 2. A nice kickoff 50 here for VEXY Dylan. VEXY Dylan looking for the follow play, but Cobra able to clear back into the corner. VEXY Dylan, a.k.a. VEXY Lad, is not going to give up his offensive pressure just yet. Went back for the boost, turned for the challenge. Now on the left-hand side of the field. Does lose to Cobra. Cobra, shot to the back wall. Will not get the bounce he was expecting. VEXY Dylan now playing the defensive game. Misses his own corner boost. That's going to be a free 100 for Cobra Warrior on his rotation back. Not that much boost here for VEXY Dylan. As Cobra, plenty of boost in the tank here. Plenty of possession. VEXY's going to have to rotate back. Doesn't grab the 100. It doesn't spawn in time, but the corner will. Cobra wasting time on the clock here. It's a smart strategy, actually, by Cobra. Got to respect him for that choice here. He's up by 1 point. 1 minute official remaining on the board as well. Cobra getting a nice bounce dribble setup. Taking a page out of Sporty FC's notebook here as Cobra baiting out the defender. Oh my goodness. Just like a mice in the wild. Cobra Warrior going to eat up the defense. A beautiful bait, beautiful strike, and a beautiful plant to follow up. Cobra Warrior now up 2 goals in game number 2. 51 seconds on the board. Hunting like a true Cobra in the wild. Now, I mean, they say Cobras kill their prey by injecting venom through their fangs, but a simple outplay can destroy a defense just like that. Less than a minute on the board here. Cobra, good first touch on the right-hand side. While VEXY gonna shadow defend this play as Cobra, setting up a nice dribble here, trying to bait out the defender again. A nice corner grab as well. Cobra winning to 50 again. Nice possession on the field right now. Just trying to play the keep away game away from VEXY Dylan. As Cobra, now going to take it up the right-hand wall. VEXY Dylan trying to rotate back. Times are getting desperate right now for VEXY Lad. As you guys see the timer on the board, 15 seconds in counting. Well, technically 10 seconds now. Cobra looking for the shot off. It's going to be off the crossbar. Not quite in. A finisher might just get the last goal of the game. 6-3 goal line. And Cobra, a beautiful half volley to the back. Well, did get bumped off it. It was off the crossbar, but he followed up with a second strike as well. A 3-goal differential. 5 seconds on the board. It's still possible, but VEXY has to win this kickoff or else this is game, and this is going to end the series right here, ladies and gentlemen. Cobra with the kickoff win in the corner, has a possession, and ball will touch the ground. Cobra Warrior will be your winner for episode 6 of the VEXY show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for stopping by. My name has been Red Falcon SS. I have been your caster for this best of 3 match. And yeah, GG's to both players on the field.
GG's.
Okay. Okay. Jesus Christ, dude.
It's all because of my freaking thing didn't load. My Valorant didn't load. If my Valorant loaded, I would be 1-4.
Yeah. That is a very true statement. Absolutely.
But if my Valorant did what it did today, I'm 0-5. This sucks.
Anyways, that's going to be the end of the VEXY show, promptly ending at 6 p.m. EST. Wow. You know what? It's pretty good timing. Anyways, guys, hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you, Cobra Warrior and Red Falcon, for making your guest appearances on the show.
Thank you.
Follow Cobra Warrior on either Twitter or Twitch, one of the two. I'll link his Twitch right now, but regardless, thank you everyone for coming out. Had a great time. Cobra, any final thoughts?
No, I appreciate you for bringing me on. If you do follow my Twitch, we do a whole bunch of casting. If you're into the Dead Space remake, we're gonna be playing that. I will play it specifically only on stream, so I won't play any bits outside of that. Excuse me. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you around.
Yeah, indeed. But one last time, everybody, go follow Cobra Warrior on Twitch. His Twitch is now in chat. Please go follow that link. And everybody, I will see you guys whenever this week. Probably the 4th. I'll see you guys this Saturday for the Chile Champions Cup, only on yours truly, the VEXY Lad channel. I'd like to thank you guys for coming out one last time. I keep saying it. I don't know how I have these outros so bad, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in a future time.